I think that there are good reasons for people to feel aggrieved. And I think that a lot of people feel that globalization has not delivered on its promise to, quote unquote, lift all boats, and therefore, in a nutshell, it is broken. So in order to think about whether or not globalization is broken, I think it's important for us to remember what was promised around the Washington Consensus. And there were essentially four pillars of the Washington Consensus. One was around trade, free trade of goods and services. Number two was the free movement of capital, cross-border capital flows. Number three was about immigration and the ability for free movement of people. And finally was around the size of government. And each of these, I would argue, we've seen a number of failures over time. If we take trade and cross-border capital flows, they have an overarching governance system at the global level. So with trade, it's the World Trade Organization. With capital flows, it's the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. We actually never established an international immigration agency, and so that has actually always been at the purview of the nation state. If you look at trade and cross-border flows in particular, what has happened in retrospect is that we actually never saw full globalization. We were supposed to get to a point where everyone, essentially through comparative advantage, everybody was producing what they were best producing, what they were best at producing. But in retrospect, what we've seen is that governments have had much more power than the international agencies, and essentially we've had a lot of trade barriers over the last multiple decades. Over the last year alone, according to Global Trade Alert, we have had 644 new tariffs. So we essentially have had a situation where common agriculture policy and farm subsidy programs have locked out goods and some services from the emerging market countries in particular, thus creating a class of winners and losers from the globalized system.